consuming all of it. And you guys, the community, you are our best resource. So the more information you give to us, the better these apps are going to get, the better this overall experience is going to get. So Aaron C says, gotta go. Have a good day, everyone. Goodbye, Aaron C. Good seeing you here. Dom Linder's in the chat. What's up, Dom? Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us. All right. 3 Unique Fingers says, as eager as I am to watch this live solve. Don't worry, we're getting into it in one moment here. I have to go to bed. It's after midnight. Don't worry, it'll be available tomorrow too. Yep. Don't worry. It'll be there. All right, let's get into it. I just get so excited about this Practice Models app. Let's do some 3D modeling using Onshape. We're going to create this model here using Onshape. This model does, in fact, come from the Practice Models app. So I'll just grab it right from there. So we'll go here to our Practice Models app. And this model is called 0204. You can see here that this is, I've done some of the free ones already here, some of the free ones. I'm not ready to do the premium ones yet. I'm going to be signing up for that actually tomorrow as a Christmas present. Somebody's going to buy it for me as a Christmas present. They're going to buy me Practice Models Premium. So I'm going to go down here and do this 24-02-04. Click here to practice. And we can see here that my CAD system is Onshape and my country is Serbia and my name is Nikola Tesla. So I've got my CAD system, I've got my country all ready to go. Skills tested, symmetry, and click here to begin. And we're going to say reveal drawing and go. And so we can see here that the timer is running and the challenge is asking, what is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? We're going to type in that mass right down here in XXXX grams. So one of the things that I always tell my students to do before they get started with actual 3D modeling is just kind of think through the model and think about a game plan. And one of the first things you have to determine when you're creating a 3D model is where should the origin be located in this model? Now, if the model has symmetry, the indication of symmetry, the note for symmetry will say CLSYM, centerline symmetry. So if the model has symmetry, then usually you would have the origin somewhere along that line of symmetry. And if it has symmetry in 2 directions, well, that makes the decision even easier. The origin is going to be right at the intersection of those 2 lines of symmetry. That'll make it easy to dimension. It'll make it easy to mirror if you're using mirroring commands. And it'll make it easy to align that part to other parts when you put it into an assembly, because they're going to have planes running right through the center of the part. So if you notice that there's 2 lines of symmetry like this part here, then the origin is going to be right here. And then as far as the vertical location of the origin, well, a lot of times when you're working in 3D CAD, you'll start out with kind of a footprint of the part. So however that part is setting on the table, that's probably where the origin is going to be. And that's going to lead us directly into our second decision, which is going to be what should the first feature that we create in this model look like. And I think in the case of this model, the first feature is probably going to be a shape like this. Create a shape like this, like a rectangle that looks something like this. A simple rectangle is good. And then we'll extrude that rectangle up. Then we could maybe add in these cuts here. We could use the line arc line shortcut. Add these cuts here. We could mirror that cut across. That might be a nice shortcut. And then after we do that, we could add in some thin features. We could add in these features here using a thin feature command. And then when that's done, we should be able to set ourselves up nicely to create this feature up top here. So that's my game plan for this model. It's always good to kind of think through your model, think about how you're going to create each of the features before you get started. And then if you need to, you could always pivot a little bit. So let me change this drawing back to the original size. I'm going to move this over onto my second screen. And here we are in Onshape. Let me bring up my keyboard cam here so you guys can see what exactly it is that I'm using as far as keyboard shortcuts go. And we're going to choose Create Document. And we're going to give this document a name. It's going to be 24-02-04 saddle. I am going to be creating this in the public space. So if you're ever stuck on this model and you want to look it up, you can just log into Onshape.com in your account, your paid account, or Onshape.com/free, and you can search in the public space for this document. So I'm going to say create public document. And now we're going to get into our game plan, which the first step of our game plan is select the top plane, begin a sketch. So I press the S key on my keyboard, jump into sketch mode, and then I'm going to press the N key on my keyboard. So I'm looking normal to my sketch plane, which is the top plane. Now I'm going to press the S key and jump into the center point rectangle command. And I'm going to drop in a rectangle right here on the origin, move this out like so, and then I'm going to single click and I'm going to let go of my mouse, and I'm going to type in 165, enter, 85, enter. And that gives me the overall dimensions for that rectangular plate. Now, at this point, what I would probably do in the real world is I would add in those tombstone shapes. I would add in some more information into this original sketch. However, I do want to show you something kind of cool with the fillet command. So I'm going to go a little bit out of order just for the sake of sharing with you a little time-saving tip. So now that I've got that geometry in place, I'm going to press the S key on my keyboard. When you're working in Onshape, you can right mouse button and customize this S key menu. And one thing that I've done is in sketch mode, I've added in the extrude command. So that means I can jump right from sketch mode right into the extrude command. And now here in the extrude command, I can say this is going to come up to a height of 12 millimeters, enter, and then enter again, and that finishes that command. Now, another cool shortcut that we can use in Onshape is when we go to create a fillet, we can get all 4 of these corners all at the same time. And one way that we can do that is by using what's called select parallel edges. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch the fillet command. I'm just going to click fillet up top here, or S key fillet. I like to map a lot of commands to my S key menu to save time. So S key fillet. And then what we could do is we can come down here. I'm going to press tab, 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 tab. I'm going to type in a radius here of 10, enter. And then I'm going to right mouse button on this edge down here. And from the right mouse button menu, from the right mouse button menu, I'm going to choose select and then parallel edges. And so you can see what Onshape does there is it gets all 4 corners, because all 4 corners of that brick are parallel edges. And that saves me having to go around and pick all 4 edges manually. It's just a nice little shortcut to know about. If you're a little bit newer to Onshape, you might not have known about that one. And if you like those kinds of shortcuts, be sure to like this video and put a 1 in the chat if you're watching with us live. So I'm going to hit the green check mark here, and I'm going to add those fillets, and then I'm going to create the sketch for the tombstone shape. Now, when it comes to that tombstone shape, one thing to think about is that the distance to the height of that upper region. So the tombstone shape I'm referring to is this kind of shape here, so like horseshoe shape. And to create that shape, the distance to the height of that is being shown here on the front view. It's being shown as 15 millimeters from the floor. So, you know, it's a subtle thing, but sometimes just deciding on a good sketch plane can save you an extra click. We could always create the sketch up here and then extrude it from the bottom, or add a distance dimension from the bottom. But instead, what we could do is we could create the sketch either down here or even on the top plane again. So pick the top plane, S key, begin a sketch, get normal 2, and now we're going to be able to create those extrusions right from that top plane. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create that horseshoe shape or that tombstone shape. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to S key, get into the line command, single click here, move over, single click again, come back to that end point. And when I say come back, I just mean move my mouse. I don't click anything. I just move my mouse over to that end point. And then I can come around with what's called a tangent arc. I can single click here, move over here to this vertical line, single click, move up, and look at that. We've created that nice tombstone shape all in one pass. That's a great tool to practice, a great workflow to practice. Certainly there's other ways you could make that tombstone shape, like you could sketch a line and then you could make it into a slot. That would work as well. But this is just a great opportunity to practice that workflow. And so now what we could do is we could pick this point, pick this origin, press H for horizontal. We could S key, begin a line command, single click the origin, move away, press Q. Q is the shortcut to convert that into construction geometry, hit escape, and then we could put a window around all that geometry, and then just come up here and choose the mirror entities command and just mirror that right across. Now we can press the S key, go into smart dimension, single click this arc here to get the radius of that arc, and that radius dimension is going to be, I guess it's actually a 15 wide, so 15 over 2 for that radius. And then we can single click this point here, single click this point over here, and then we can drop in that distance of 108. And that gives us a center to center distance for those tombstone shapes. Now this is going to start out as a cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the command S key extrude. And instead of making this a solid, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to choose remove. And then what I can do is I can say reverse direction, and I can say I want this to go through all. So that gives us the geometry for that cut. Now I can hit the green check mark, and now I can go back and I can show this sketch. So over here in the tree, this sketch here that I just created is for that tombstone shape. Well, I can show that sketch, and then I can S key extrude again. And this time I can say I want to create a thin feature extrusion. So as soon as you get into the extrude command, you could make that extrude a solid. You could add material, remove material. You could make it as a surface, or you could make it as a thin feature. You have that choice. And what's nice is that I can also show that earlier sketch and just reuse the sketch. And I don't have to use the whole thing. I could just use certain segments. So I could say I want to thin feature extrude this segment and this segment and this segment of that earlier sketch, and this segment and this segment and this segment of that earlier sketch. And what is the height going to be for that thin feature? The height is going to be 15, because remember, we made that sketch on the top plane. We were kind of thinking ahead a little bit. And then we can see here that we've got this option for thickness. So thickness in direction 1, thickness in direction 2. Well, there is one little hiccup here that I ran into, and if you're out there and you're an Onshape wizard, let me know if there's a way around this hiccup. But the hiccup that I ran into here is if I do flip wall, it does a flip wall for every entity. I couldn't figure out a way that I could just say flip these to the outside and also flip these to the outside. Seemed like I was kind of stuck. I had to flip all of them at one time. So I don't know if that's just a setting that I'm missing, or if that's a limitation with thin feature in Onshape currently. You know, Onshape releases updates like every 6 weeks, so it won't be, if it is a limitation, it won't be long before it's fixed. But even if it is a limitation, it's no big deal. I could just come in here and unselect those edges. I could just say I'm going to unselect these edges, and I could either do that as a secondary feature, do it as another thin feature, or I could do it as a mirror. But I am going to do it as a secondary feature because it lets us show another cool shortcut in Onshape, and that shortcut is if I press enter right now, it's going to finish this command. But if I press shift enter, what happens is it finishes the command and then it starts the command over again right away. And so now what I can do is I can choose this edge, and this edge, and change that depth to 15. Or really, to make this dynamic, I should probably just go up to face and then go up to this face here, and boom, there is our solution. So I really like that. Victor K is making a great point. You could always click the help icon and submit a ticket. So I go up here to this help icon, help menu, and then look right from here, report a bug. And then I could say, you know what? I'm running into an issue with this part. Thin feature, one side needs to be unselectable or something like that. You need to be able to toggle which one is going to which side. Take a picture of it, include this document so that this document goes right to support right along with this example. So that's how easy it is to submit an issue to support. You just do that, click submit, and you're done, because you're already logged into Onshape. So they have all your user information. They have all the information they need about you. So really, really easy to submit issues. And that's why the product gets improved so rapidly. So now we're done with that feature. Now we can hide that sketch. Now we can go into the S key fillet command. This is going to be a radius of 2. Add in these 2mm radii here, 2mm radii here. And then for the final feature, which is that kind of boss extrude across the top, again, I just want to kind of show off some cool little tricks that you can use when you're working in sketching in Onshape. So I'm going to choose the front plane. I'm going to choose to begin a new sketch. So S key sketch. I'm going to press N to get normal 2. And then I'm going to press S key again, and I'm going to choose to make a center point rectangle. And this rectangle is going to have a width. So I'll begin the center point rectangle right there above the origin, right on that middle plane. I'm going to single click, and I'm going to type in a width here of 65, enter. And then I'm not really sure what the height should be, so I'm just going to press escape. There we go. And the reason I'm not sure what the height should be is because this line of the rectangle is going to be coplanar to this line here. So I, and then this line of the rectangle is going to be at a distance of 25 from the 25 from the base of the design, the base of the model. Now, when it comes to locating those holes that are running through, the 5mm through holes, we could once again create a center point rectangle, drop that rectangle here directly above the origin, and give this thing the dimensions 55, enter, and 18, enter. And what we could do with this rectangle is we could hit escape, pick this lower line of the rectangle, pick this lower edge of the model here, and press I for collinear or for coincident. And now we've got the center point locations for those holes. We could make these lines construction, or we could just leave them solid. That's the cool thing about Onshape. It lets you kind of go either way. So I could create a circle here, single click, move my mouse out, single click again, let go, 5, enter. And then I could single click here, move my mouse out, single click here, hit escape, pick this circle and this circle and press E to make them equal. So now we've quickly located those holes. And then the final thing we could do here is single click, S key, circle, single click, move our mouse, single click again, let go of our mouse, and give that a radius of 50 or a diameter of 100. And then the height to the lower edge of this arc here is, so I'll just pick this lower edge of the arc, pick the base of the part. That height is 16 to tangency. And so now that we've got all that geometry in our sketch, we can choose S key extrude. This is going to be a solid extrusion. And then all we need to do is just go through and pick those regions. So region 1, region 2, region 3. Depth is going to be 90. Tab, tab, tab. Press the space bar to do symmetric. I like using tab on the keyboard and space bar to activate these different options. And we hit the green check mark. And boom, that's it for that model. Give this thing the final spin. We can press the P command to hide our planes. We can press Shift P if we want to hide everything, all our sketches and the origin and any other reference geometry. We can come down here to the name of the part and we can right mouse button and say Edit Appearance. And we can make this part kind of match up with the appearance that the customer gave us. You don't need to do that when you're speed modeling, but it certainly is an option. And then we can also right mouse button down here on this part and we can choose Assign Material. And this material is going to come from the tootalltoby custom materials library. And it's going to be the material called plain carbon steel. And we hit the green check mark. And then finally, we come down here to the lower corner. We choose this option down here for mass properties. Choose that option for mass properties. We come up here, we choose the part, and look at that, 1550 grams. So is that correct? I'm not sure. Let's go back to the practice models app and we're going to type in 1550, enter. Yes, we did it. We got it correct. 1550 was correct. And so here we can see that it tracked my answer, it tracked my time, it told me I got the correct answer. And when I choose submit here, we can see that that practice models challenge is going to update. Now we can scroll down. We can see what our time was. So our time was 14:54 for the time. The average time is 11 minutes. So now what I could maybe do is retry or try again and see if I can get down below the average time. And so if you guys enjoyed that run, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to let me know down in the comments if you have any questions, if you learned anything cool from that. 1550 was the correct answer. And with that, we're going to take a look at the final answer from your challenge here from the second challenge. And don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share and read.